Welcome to the Mindful Educator podcast. This is a place to come if you're seeking calm amongst the chaos, transformation and personal shifts, inspiring conversations, and practical advice to help you build a more balanced and fulfilling life. Come join me, your host, Victoria R. I'm a mum, teacher, coach, mindfulness instructor, multi-business owner, and city-turned-country girl, and I'm sharing the lessons I wish I had known sooner. Let's take this journey of personal growth and meaningful change together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mindful Educator podcast. So today is the last episode of this year. So I've got a very special guest, a woman who I absolutely adore, and that is Elsa Mitchell. So welcome, Elsa.
Yes, we're going out with a bang, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Save the best for last.
Definitely. So I thought we might start off. Do you want to just introduce yourself so people know who you are, what you do, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, okay. This is so fun being on the other side of the mic. Normally it's me interviewing people. So, yeah. I'm Elsa Mitchell and I am a business mentor, and I also have a podcast called, am I allowed to say it?
Yeah,
Bossy
you're allowed to say
Bitch. And I work with women and men, but mostly women, all over Australia. I have a bit of a love for rural and regional Australia because I'm a farm girl at heart. And I teach people how to run a business successfully. And the reason I do that is because I've done that for many years. I owned a hair salon for 14 years and had a building company for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And yeah, it's a very long and twisted tale, but here I am, trying to build success and wealth for other business owners around Australia.
Yeah, and you do a great job at it as well. So Elsa runs a couple of things. One of them is a Mentor Academy, which I've been a part of, which is amazing. And I know you've also got, is it MHQ as well, for those that kind of a little bit more advanced?
Well, yeah. The Mentor Academy, we've started fondly referring to as the Mental Academy.
Yeah. I love it.
MHQ is in person in Perth. What was happening was I was finding there was quite a lot of people that were saying to me, I don't really need, because Mentor Academy comes with quite a lot of educational piece to it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of women that were like, I don't really need the educational piece, or I'm not interested in the educational piece, but I would just really love to have some women to connect with, because we know it can be very lonely when you're running your own business or working for yourself. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll just put something together. And it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's called MHQ, and it stands for Millionaire Headquarters. And I know it's cringe, but it is meant to be funny.
But at the same time, like, you got to put it out there, right?
Manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was helping a girlfriend go through her wardrobe. She's moving house last night.
Yeah.
And she was like, what about these? I'm like, girl, we're rich. We're just going to buy new ones, throw them out.
They knew needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So how
Fake
did
it
you
till you
get
make
started?
it.
Pardon? Fake it till you
Fake
make
it
it.
till
I
you
know,
make it.
right? So you were a hairdresser for how many years was it?
I was a hairdresser for 20 years. I had
Yeah.
my own salon for 14. I bought it when I
Yeah.
was 25. Yeah.
So what are kind of some of the big things that you learned during your time when you were having your own hair salon and doing all that type of thing? I know you've got some wicked stories about different things. So
Oh my gosh.
that's one thing
so
about
funny.
Elsa. She's always got the best stories.
Well, I'm prone for the theatrics, and I never
And
let
we
the
love
truth get in the way of a good story. The salon. So I actually started the salon because I wanted to own a business. I didn't really love the hair, which I kind of feel guilty saying that. Not that I was a terrible hairdresser, but I used to kind of say, there's a thing in hairdresser land, and you'll know this, everybody's been to the hairdresser, is you can be a really, 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 really good hairdresser. But if you've got a pretty shit personality and people don't connect with you, then you probably are not going to be super successful.
Yeah.
Whereas you can be an average hairdresser and have the gift of the gab, or, be able to connect with people really well, and you will be fully booked and majorly successful all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that I was an average hairdresser and just very good at connecting with people. So I literally went into hairdressing at 17 with the intention of setting up my own business. And that's the beauty of when you're 25 and you don't have any children. And I didn't have any money, but I
Yeah.
managed to con some people into loaning me some. Is you have that just fearless, I'm not going to
Yeah.
fail. I can do anything. And then you get older and you have kids and you get all this responsibility and you get a mortgage and then you crave for that kind of fearless energy you had,
Yeah.
when you were 25. And
Definitely.
also, I like to talk a lot about back then, we didn't have social media.
Mm.
If we did, no one was really using it. I always felt like
Yeah.
I was one of the first businesses on Facebook. And I was like, wow, this is so exciting because it's free marketing. And then that very quickly changed.
Yeah.
So it was so about having to promote your business and not yourself, and customer service and taking good care of people was the way you grew your business,
Mm.
whereas now it's a whole different ball game. It's much more personal. It's
Yeah.
much more close to home, which I think
Yeah.
is actually a bit harder. Yeah. I like to
Yeah.
say my businesses were born in the yellow pages days, and we used to be so pissed off we had to spend all the money on the yellow pages.
Mm.
But now we long for those days because it was so much simpler.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really interesting hearing you talk because I know like you were saying, average hairdresser, but you had a great like personality, all the rest of it. And I'm like, isn't that kind of what most successful businesses are anyway, though? Like people don't necessarily have to be the best at what they're doing, but it's more how they present
Mm.
themselves, how you interact with others, all the rest of it. Like those kind of lessons kind of they come through in different things, don't they? So,
Yeah, because people can be quite forgiving, if you make a mistake, if you've been a really good human being, right? So,
yeah.
even interestingly, is I've been, with the AI movement, I've watched quite a few videos from, or like master classes or whatever you want to call them, from the people that are creating the AI software, like the
Mm.
people that are building ChatGPT, the people that created the iPhone, and their stories, and I guess this is a strategy to make us not fear AI. So I am mindful of that, but a lot of what they're saying is kind of tying back into, whilst AI can replace a lot of things, it will never replace the human element. And what will always
Mm.
get one person over the line over the next is their, bedside manner, if you want to call it
Yeah.
that, the way they do have that human touch, that's not going anywhere. So, um, yes, to answer what you were saying, absolutely right.
Mm.
I always think if you treat your people, well, it was very Richard Branson, isn't it? Like if you look
Yeah.
after your staff, they'll look after the clients. It's a chain
Yeah.
reaction. So I really believe in a lot of his messaging around that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know, like, obviously having been in your world for a few years and stuff, I know that you're very good at connecting people. You're very good at obviously communicating with people. Like it's one of your really good skills. And I love how you're always like, oh, I know someone that could help with that. And you're always willing to kind of, yeah, help people collaborate and set up those meets and all the rest of it as well, which is awesome. So there's not too much of that out there so much these days. Everyone's kind of getting very competitive. So it's lovely that you're
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
been a competitive year, hey? Like it's been
Mhm.
super competitive. I'm like, what have, when there was a time when we would share each other's stuff on Instagram and promote each other, and
Yeah.
it's just, I guess, we can use the economy as an excuse, but it has felt very every man for himself over the
Yeah.
past year,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
A little bit sad as well.
It's disappointing, yeah. I'm like, what
Yeah.
happened to the women supporting women and championing each other? It feels like it's kind of gone a bit quiet in that space.
Yeah. Which, like when you actually see it and witness it firsthand as well, like it's absolutely amazing when women do get behind each other. Like we're pretty unstoppable.
It's
So,
awesome. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
I love it. I've always had a bit of a theory that if the human race in general, and not just women, had the ability to be more collaborative, can you imagine how much more successful and wealthy we would all be? Like,
Mm,
imagine if you could get five friends and you all chipped in to buy an investment property,
yeah.
or you like the amount of times I see businesses and I'm like, oh, if you and you could come together, but I know they can't because I know that this person over here, no way can release any
Mm,
control. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you guys could be huge. But
Yeah.
it's not a skill we possess, right?
Yeah.
And if you would
Yeah.
have heard the phrase, never go into business with anybody, especially
Mm,
family or friends,
yeah.
it sucks. Like
It
the world
does.
would be a different place if we could all just team up and share and figure it out.
I know. Mesh all our skill sets instead of, yeah, facing them off against each other. So,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm. So with the women that you work with, like, are there any kind of things that you notice? Because I know that, like, obviously there's a few of us that are mums, there's some that aren't. Like, is there anything that you kind of, any themes or common things that often come out? Because you would see a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to people's businesses and people themselves. So is there anything that you've noticed over the years?
Yes, definitely. There's two things probably that I could speak to. The first one is the woman that's kind of done raising the kids, maybe they're around their 50s, and I call it their time. So they've kind of spent a lot of time maybe supporting their partners or being a mum or prioritizing everybody else or looking after sick parents, whatever it is. And then suddenly it gets to midlife and there becomes this like, they fire up, right? They're like, what's
Yeah.
next? I want to learn. And quite often what happens is their partners are winding down. They're winding up and they're winding down
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, I've been working my whole life. I'm done. I just want to go
Yep.
fishing and drink beer. So that's been a very, very, very strong theme that I've seen come through. The second thing that I have noticed is, and this can take a little while. Usually when I work with people and as I get to know them, and it takes ages to get to know someone, like
Mm,
really get to know someone,
yeah.
right? We forget that. You can be married for a few years and be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Who's this person? So is as I really get to know people and I peel back the layers and peel back the layers and peel back the layers, what I notice is then there's always something personal, something in their private life that's happened or is going on that then it of course it impacts their business, right?
Mm,
But obviously people are deeply they don't want to share. They don't want to share if they've got some not so nice things going on or maybe their husband's got a gambling problem and they're in debt even and so I can come in and go, hang on, you've got this huge business, you're earning millions of dollars, it's
yeah.
amazing. So I can be scratching my head going, what's the missing piece here?
Hmm.
Why are we not making this shift or getting it where we need to be? And then the minute I can find out what's going on behind the scenes, it all makes sense. I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay, this is holding you back because of X, Y, and Z. You're spread thin because of X, Y, and Z, or you've been burnt, or someone's let you down, or there's always something in the background. And even like
Yeah.
we've talked about this many times, Victoria, is like if you've been burnt out in the past,
Yeah.
then that fear of like, I don't want to ever be in that situation again. So you sit in this like, oh, kind of
Yeah.
stuck because you're so scared of doing too much. So yeah, it is very, very interesting. So it's almost like if you could fast forward through the
Yeah.
the dating
Yeah.
phase and get to the nitty-gritty at the start.
Yeah. And
But
that's
I think
one thing,
if
like,
everyone is aware that that's what's holding them back, do you know what I mean?
yeah. Because I know a lot of your clients, like a lot of us are quite long-term clients as well. So you would
Mm.
really get to know us and, yeah, our little quirks and all, all the rest of it as well. You'd be like, ah, yeah.
How far I can push people and not push
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So, oh, maybe I need to step back a little bit this time. Or
Yeah.
no, they need
Was
a
that
bit of
one
a,
of the girls said to me the other day, I just feel like you've never really like roasted me, like given it to me. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't think you were ready.
yeah. But now that you're
But
asking,
if you want it, I'll give it to you. And
yeah.
but buckle up because you asked me to not roast you, but just be very firm and kind of, I guess, honest in what I really
Yeah.
think. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
But when you do roast, you always do it in such a loving way. A little dash of humor thrown in, so it works well.
I always say it's like, yeah, taking a dump on your chest and then throwing glitter on it.
Love it. Just that imagery. So what made you decide to do all this, like to become a business mentor, to do all this? I know you've got a bit of a background there, and I'm not, it's up to you if you want to share it, but yeah.
It's kind of so weird because I never wanted to be a business mentor. It was not something I ever set out to do. I kind of spent about 5 years in limbo land, knowing that I was meant to do something else, but wasn't really
Yeah.
sure what. It's very freaking hard when you've got successful businesses that are making good money, that are
Mm,
very, not easy, but easy because you've got your systems, you've got your routine, you know what works, what doesn't work. Like it's like becomes second nature. So to walk away from that is really, really hard.
yeah.
And so I spent about 5 years with the salon and the building company, kind of going, oh, I feel like there's another thing, but I couldn't quite work it out. And then what I did notice was that in having completely different businesses, that they both had the same foundations pretty much,
Yeah.
right? To make them tick, the same kind of core methods, values, even energetically, and the type of makeup you have to be as a human being to make it work.
Yeah.
And then I was blogging a long time ago. Well, that was a really cool thing to do for like
Blogging,
five
yeah.
seconds. Yeah. But I was blogging for my business and nobody else was blogging for their. I'm always doing a cool thing when it's not
Oh,
cool.
I love that.
Yeah, and then blogging died, and everybody then started blogging for their business because what we worked out was that um, was really good for search engine. So Google
Yeah, okay.
search. So my businesses were always popping up number one for lots of search terms, and that was a really great way for me to grow my business.
Yeah.
So I have a very weird and unique set of skills. And then, so through the blogging kind of world, my close girlfriend, Christy Morton, and Christy had left her corporate accounting, in the city, big job, like, had kids, started blogging as well, became a massive nerd, building websites, and was really good in the tech space. And we were just having a lot of conversations around we didn't know many women that were making enough money in their businesses to
Mm,
support themselves or their family
yeah.
like we were, and we wanted to change that. So we kind of started doing this thing together. We didn't really know what we were doing or where it was going to go. We kind of didn't feel right at the start either, but we're like, we'll just keep throwing things out because we were pretty sure it would just land where it was meant to. And then
Yeah.
we started traveling up to the Pilbara and the Kimberley and all over regional WA running workshops. Christy would do a lot of the nerdy stuff like
Yeah.
websites, SEO, and I would do a bit of social media or other businessy type things that were in my blogging, obviously, which was in my wheelhouse. And
Yeah.
then Christy got sick and she got breast cancer and she passed away within 18 months of her diagnosis. She was 37 when she got diagnosed on the 1st of
Oh
the
no.
11th.
Yeah.
And yeah, 18 months later, so she had three little girls. And that obviously was a complete game changer for me in my life.
Mm, yeah.
And I sold my salon, left my marriage and the building business. And yeah, kind of that all happened within about 6 months. Christy passing away, leaving my
Wow.
marriage. So I went
Yeah.
from having, this steady income and a home and all of these things to nothing.
Yeah.
And so I jumped off the cliff and I went all in.
You did indeed.
And this is
Yeah.
just where I landed, I think, and it's interesting because I thought it would be a lot like hairdressing, because all
Mm,
you do is gossip all day long and talk, but actually it's nothing like hairdressing
yeah.
because I do the talking all day long, right?
Yeah.
Normally I'd be listening to my clients tell me all their juicy goss and I'd just be smiling and nodding and laughing.
Yeah.
But now I've realized that it's my energy, it's my job to
Mm,
lift up others, inspire others. And if I'm off my game, then I've got nothing to offer. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I have to be so mindful that my energy is good so
Yeah.
that I can meet my clients where they need to be at.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting because obviously I went through the hardest years of my life
Mm,
ever, like
yeah.
grieving and going through a horrible divorce. It was the worst, the absolute worst. And
Yeah.
in amongst that, I was trying to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, like yeah, so literally some of the most stressful experiences you can ever go through, and there you are, like, yeah,
Smiling my way through it. You know what? This is what you said before. People were so good. Like, I could burst into tears. People were amazing.
yeah,
Like, I think it's such a fine line to walk because we get told to be our raw and authentic selves, in our marketing for our business. But by the same token, if you're suffering or you're struggling, whether it's grief or illness or divorce or whatever it is, you also are very mindful that you don't want your audience going, oh my gosh, she's a hot mess. I don't want to
mm,
work with her because you're like, I still got to pay the bills.
yeah, and it's such a fine line, isn't it? It's like showing that vulnerability, but also, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, like how's that actually going to be received though?
Yeah, you're like, I'm a hot mess, but hey,
Yeah,
I'm not too much of a hot mess. I can
yeah,
still do a really good job in my
and I know my
business.
stuff, like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like I'm fine.
I've
I
got
can
this.
cry and give good advice at the same time.
Yeah,
Well, it's an
oh,
energetic exchange, right? And
yeah,
that's not just with what I'm doing now. I think that's with every business,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
If your energy is good, that trickles through.
Yeah. So how do you navigate that? Because I know that obviously you've got children as well. You've got children at various ages. You're doing all the things. Like how do you actually navigate all this whilst running your business? Like is there anything in particular that works for you? Are you finding you just kind of on the fly and will make it up each week? Or Elsa's like, oh no.
I think there's yeah, it's not easy, let me tell you. And
Yeah.
because we have 5 kids in our house, and not only do we have 5 kids, but they are overachievers. So we have sport all the time and
Mm.
they work and they're always there. I sound like I'm complaining, but
No,
I'm
not
like
at
they're
all.
academically really strong. They're always winning awards
Yeah.
at school. Um,
So yeah, you're showing up for a lot of things. It's not just drop you off at school and that's it. It's like, oh, we're
yeah.
doing all the extracurricular as well.
I've been saying this week, we talk about the wheel of life, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got your parenting or your
Yeah.
friends' work, and it's like, where are you at with each one? And
Yep.
I've been saying, well, this week, my parenting piece of the pie is colored in the whole way. I'm
Yeah.
nailing it. But
That's
everything
good.
else is empty because I've been showing up for my kids this week,
Yeah.
but I've not gotten any work done. So, I think
Yeah.
I've had to learn to stop apologizing. I feel like I'm always saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I've been really busy. I'm really sorry. I had this." I'm like, I've just got to stop apologizing. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, life is busy. We're allowed to not be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
Um, it is absolutely a juggle, and I think it's just getting to know yourself. But you have to want things bad enough, right? Like
Mm.
this is a choice I've made.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
made a choice to have this full life. So. Um, I just am now, you know, I've learnt that at the age of 43, I no longer need to be the last person standing at a party.
You can leave a little earlier.
I don't
Yeah.
have to be the last person there.
Yeah.
Elsie, you can go home early. You don't have to
Yeah.
be the party girl anymore. Naps. I'm allowed to have a day nap.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's no rules. You just have to do what works for you. I love to sleep.
Yeah. That's good. Naps,
Yeah.
day naps, bring it on.
You read the 5 a.m. club and all those people like, to be successful, you be up at 5 a.m. and journal and do all the things. And
Mm.
I'm like, mate, I need to sleep.
Yeah. Me and 5 a.m. don't mix.
No. I'm like, who are those sickos getting up at the time?
Good on you if you can. I used to be able to, but the last few years, no.
I got up at 6 a.m. to drop my daughters at the Victoria's Secret store opening at Up. So I am feeling like a winner today.
Yeah. And like you're almost in your afternoon already.
Yeah, feels like well and truly nap time.
Yeah, you've lived a full day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So what would you say, like if people are coming to you and they're like, oh, Elsa, I want to start my own business, but I'm a mum, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, would you have any suggestions for them? What would you say to them if they wanting to get started in this sort of area?
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that because I know for me, I spent so many years kind of going, I want to do this thing. I don't really know what it looks like. I don't really know where to start, and I don't have time, right? I used to be
Mm,
like, I don't have enough time. And someone once said to me, "Well, can you do an hour a day?" An hour a day. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can. They'll like start there. So
Yeah.
that's always my advice to people now is like an hour a day or half an hour a day. It's whatever you prioritize, right? It's like when you say I don't
Mm.
have time to exercise,
Yeah.
but when you
Dear.
prioritize it, when you really like feel like crap and you're like, I am going to make this a priority,
Yeah.
then you find that time. So yeah, that's my number one thing. If you're time poor, just even half an hour a day. The
Yeah.
other piece of advice I will give is, and I don't say this to put anybody off, but I think there's a lot of fairy tales around having a business, and no one
Mm.
really talks about that it's actually quite, you've got to be very resilient
Yeah.
and you've got to have a lot of
Yeah.
courage. And you need to have a thick skin and be prepared to do all the things and know that it takes time. I think
Mm.
everybody wants this quick win, but it takes, I always like to say, it can take 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
usually only get the success bit at the end. You don't get all the years of when somebody else tried to start 10 other businesses and this is the one that just landed.
Yeah.
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 So,
That's so
um,
true.
yeah, the want has to outweigh the fear. You have
Ooh.
to want it so bad that you will, at all turns, when it gets tricky or hard, or you're tired, or your stuff comes up, your money blocks, your imposter
We've all got those.
syndrome, the fear of visibility, your fears of failing, your fears of succeeding, all those things come up for you. You've got to want that business so bad that you will do anything to navigate through those both both energetic blocks, but also other blocks, like
Yeah,
all the things that
definitely.
could potentially happen.
Yeah. And I think this is what people don't realize as well. Like, I know so often you see on Instagram or Facebook, people are like, oh, I made this, these many millions and this and that. And people probably don't realize exactly what's gone into actually them getting there to that point as well. They don't know, like, all the, what's, for lack of a better word, hustle that's gone on behind the scenes or whatever it might have been, or how many years they've been like chipping away at it as well. So, yeah, I think there is kind of like this glorified, like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I just start my own business and the money's going to come rolling in. It's like,
Yeah, I don't believe in passive income. I don't believe in the 4-hour work week. I'm like, if that's your vibe, that's cool, but I'm more
yeah,
about the real talk. And
yeah,
yeah, I get spoken about more behind closed doors, right? But this is that
mm,
thing because everybody wants to create the illusion of success so that that's what people think. And then um,
yeah.
I remember I had a girl when I owned my salon. I went to boarding school with, and she rang up one day out of the blue. Hadn't seen her for like 20 years, and she was like, "Oh, hi, Elsa, it's Nikki." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I know like 30 Nikki's that come to this salon." She's like, "We went to school together," and I was like, "Still not getting it."
Uh,
And anyway, she said, "Oh my God, you just look like you're doing so well on social media." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what it's meant to make you think."
yeah, yeah. That's my facade.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, my business is doing really well, but my personal life
Yeah,
behind the scenes is an absolute shit show.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Everything
trying
else
to
is like
trying to
burning
not
around me, but
swear on
yeah,
this podcast because I'm like, I know mine's marked explicit, but yours isn't.
that's fine. Yeah, and this is the thing, isn't it? Like, and I know, especially, having children, like for both of us, there are going to be times, like you said, where it's okay, the work's going to have to pause. We're going to have to focus our attention on our family and our children or whatever it might be. So I think it's so nice that you're actually out here being really realistic about it instead of being like, oh, it's all like, yeah, la la la, this is amazing. It's like, well, no, there is a reality to it. Like we have to be realistic and go, yeah, at times my family is going to be a priority. Other times the business will be a priority. Like it's, yeah, that juggling act, isn't it, really? So,
Yeah, and I heard something really good recently, actually. Somebody said this, and I went, "Oh, and it's not the first time I've heard this. So it's a good reminder is if when your kids are old enough,
yeah.
to have that conversation. So, I at the dinner table be like, okay, well, this is where my business is at now.
Mm,
If I were to make it bigger, then it would mean, all the positives, we'd have more money.
yeah.
We can go on nicer holidays. I can buy you more things.
Yep.
or not, because
You don't need more
I don't want to
things.
spoil them.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, that means I can't pick her up from school every day. You're going to have to get the
Mm,
bus. You might have to walk. I can't always do all these things. You're going to have to step up. So, what do we as a family just
mm,
want? What do we decide is best for us? And I can guarantee you, my kids are going to say, we'll get the bus home
yeah. Yeah.
because we want the money.
Yeah. Bring us all the holidays.
Yeah, I mean that's just my family, but
Yeah.
other you know
Yeah. And I love
families.
that you're bringing them into that decision making as well. That's actually a really good idea. So,
Yeah, I've heard some
yeah.
great stories from wildly successful women that have said, they got an inheritance or a payout for something, and
Mm,
they've sat down with their families and their kids and gone, okay, we can either invest it in a business, and this is what that would look like, or we can buy a house, and they've let their kids be a part of that decision.
yeah.
Obviously, this wouldn't work for everybody, but I really love that because
Yeah.
and then it alleviates a lot of that mum guilt, right? If
Hmm.
you're like, well, we talked about this and we decided as a family,
Yeah.
you guys, they're kids. I understand. They don't always understand, or they're not
Yeah.
always ready for those things, but doesn't hurt, does
No. And yeah, oh my gosh, the mum guilt. The
it?
never-ending mum guilt.
Exactly.
I know. I suppose, yeah, and it gives them that, yeah, like, I mean, the kids like to be involved. They like to feel like they're a part of what's going on. So it's giving them that responsibility as well. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we're making this decision as a family. So I really like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
good advice. It's not mine. I've stolen it, but I do really like it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my son was apparently they did podcasting at school this week.
Oh,
Yeah, and he said to his teacher, "My mum has a podcast."
we already do that.
And yeah, that's what she does for her business. And his teacher was like, "Oh, I love podcasts." And my partner texted me, and he's like, "Uh-oh, the teacher knows about your podcast."
Yeah, that,
And I was like, I wonder if he remembered what the name of it was because
yeah.
he's such a like goody two shoes. I can't imagine him like
You're like, it's
wanting
the
to say
bossy.
bossy bitch to his
Yeah.
teacher. He would have been too embarrassed. So
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Oh, that's so cute though. I love that they're doing podcasting. How awesome for them.
It is very cool. Yeah. And I think when they're like younger, like primary school age, they love it.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to teenage, like that 13, 14, they're like, oh my gosh, mum, so embarrassing. I don't want anyone to know you've got a podcast. And then they circle back again to being like, oh,
Yeah.
actually, it's
So
kind
do
of
your
cool.
kids listen to yours?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of them said the other day, oh, their friends' mums do because I
Oh.
made, I made all their friends subscribe like a few years ago, and
Yeah.
so they reckon that all their parents have like subscribed as well.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think they're just so over it. In the beginning they did, but because it would be come on in the car and stuff, because it'd be on
Yeah.
my playlist. So now when it comes on, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, turn it off."
Yeah. I must admit, one of my kids is like keeps trying to listen to it. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh, I can't hear it.
So funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
So hard to
Oh,
listen to your own voice.
I know. It's so funny, but yeah. Oh, that's so good. So if people are wanting to start out in business, like how can you actually help them? What's your role in all this? What would you?
Oh, good question. Yeah, it kind of looks different for everybody, but the way, because in my industry can be a bit shady.
Mhm.
I'm not into the whole follow my blueprint. I've got the strategy, make six figures. That's not me. I
Yeah.
think everybody's different, and what works for one doesn't always work for the other, right?
Mhm.
Because it just doesn't. So whilst there's core foundations, so I'm very into the core foundations, and there are some non-negotiables, right? Like there
Yeah.
are certain things you have to do and have to have. You can't avoid those things, whether you like it
Mhm.
or not. So I'm very into let's get those foundations right from the start.
Yeah.
And then uh, a lot of it is giving people the courage and validation that they're seeking. Like, what do you think
Mhm.
about this? Or is this a good idea? Or how should I execute this plan
Yeah.
So I guess a lot of strategy, a lot of the clarity, accountability is a big
Mm.
thing, because when people are paying me money and they know that they've got to jump on a call with me, they have to have done the things that they've said they're going to do. I
Yeah.
kind of say it's like when you hire a nutritionist, like if you aren't feeling healthy, you know what you need to do. You need to
Yeah.
stop eating burgers and drinking Coke and beer. We
Yeah.
know that. But if you've paid a nutritionist and you're jumping on a weekly call, you might not eat the pie the night before if you know you've got to tell her you're going to
Yeah.
eat the pie. You know, like
Yeah.
it's a similar thing. It's like I just am like, right. But I think as well, the other thing for people is they don't know where to start. Like there's so many
Mm.
things, so
Mm-hmm.
many things. Like the mountain is huge when you're putting a business together, or even when you've been in business for a million years, because we're moving in a really rapidly changing world.
Yeah.
So therefore, then they often get stuck and don't do anything. So I'm like, here's where we start
Yeah.
and we layer. And so I like to say we pull it all out, all your ideas, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, what's
Yeah.
in your maybe bucket. And if you're not willing to do bucket is the most full, then we've got problems. Maybe
Okay.
you should start a business. You should probably get a job. Um, and then it's like we put all the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle. So I help people go, this is the next step, then this is the next step, and this is what to prioritize. And I'm just that sounding board. How does this
Yeah.
look? And then as well, like you said, I am the master connector. So I'm like, you need to speak to this person, you need to speak to this person, you need to collaborate with them. Um, yeah, that is something that I think is one of my strengths
Yeah,
is the
definitely.
connecting of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so good as well because yeah, it is. It's so overwhelming when you're wanting to start a business, and yeah, like you said, sometimes you just like, where do I actually start? Like, how do I actually do all this? And yeah, it's a bit of a process. So it's good to know that you're there to be able to help people kind of through that and give them a bit more clarity than
It's
perhaps.
like if you were flying a plane for the first time, right? And you jumped in
Mm.
and you looked at all the buttons on the board, on the dashboard, and there's like a
Yeah,
million buttons, and you wouldn't even know which ones to push. You know,
yeah,
that's like starting a business. I'm like, push this button, pull this
yeah.
lever, and then we figure out how to take off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. And I know one of the things that you've mentioned you've been doing a bit of as well is going like to the more regional areas too and speaking to people there. And how are you finding all that? Like what's been happening in those regions that you're loving the most at the moment?
I love, because I'm a farm girl at heart. I was born and raised in the country. My family's still in the country. I would be
Yeah.
in the country if it weren't for my blended family. Um, so they are just my people. I find when I do the rural regional type stuff, it's different type of connection. It feels very authentic.
Mm.
I feel like I make deeper connections.
Mm.
They're my people.
Yeah.
They are just they get me, they get my jokes, they get my sense of humor.
Yeah.
Not everybody always gets me, and that's okay. But out there, and they appreciate you showing up because we
Mm.
forget that, yes, you can learn everything online, but not everybody learns that way.
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to learn that way. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So there's still
Yeah.
visual learners. I like to learn I will still show up to an old school event in person because that's how I like to consume information and knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't like to, I will fall asleep watching online courses. I don't want to read and learn. I
Yeah.
want to go to something and connect in person. And
Yeah.
I think that connection and community is so prevalent in the country. So therefore, when I show up there, I feel that it's more appreciated. It's more
Yeah.
a deeper connection. So,
Yeah, and I think
um,
yeah, it definitely is appreciated because even we're only a couple of hours from Perth where I am, but even getting people to come up sometimes can be such a mission. So the fact
mm,
that you're willing to go to these areas to bring your knowledge and all that you bring, like that's amazing. And I'm sure, yeah, it would definitely
well,
be
I
fun.
always say do the things that your competitors aren't willing to do.
Mm,
Yes, but where was I going with this? I think the rural communities, particularly the women, they've become very fierce. That's become a very sacred almost like a secret society because, that is the perks of the online space. It's given a real voice to rural women and there's so many people doing some phenomenal things in that space. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. And, it's not easy to tap into those communities sometimes as an outsider because we're very strong on advocating for supporting local.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Definitely.
even I sometimes feel like a bit, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but they're hard communities to infiltrate because they are fiercely loyal. They are fiercely supportive. And that's pretty awesome. And they're certainly a strong voice, I feel, that's rising in Australia. And that's pretty awesome. There's, some pretty dynamic, and I say the women because I feel like
Well, it is
traditionally
majority
we
women,
know
yeah.
that women in the country were baking in the kitchen and doing
Yeah.
aerobics. Not anymore, my
Well, we
friends.
may still be doing some of that, but we're also doing other stuff too.
Well, the opportunities weren't available, right?
Yeah.
They just weren't because
Yeah.
what were you going to do? There was no,
Mm,
there's two things in town, a bank and a hospital,
yeah.
if you were lucky.
Yeah.
It was not a lot of opportunity for women to create a career or start a business. Now there's so much opportunity because there's so much available on the online space,
Yeah. Which is awesome.
and it's people kind of, I think, have really lent into that supporting Australian businesses and women supporting other rural women. The values behind people's buying decisions have
Mhm.
strengthened significantly, which is
Yeah.
one of the perks of social media.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we've got to focus on the positives.
There
I love it.
is
Oh,
some.
awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Elsa. And I'm just a bit conscious of time because I know we've been chatting for a little
And
while.
I will go for days,
I know you
Victoria. So
will.
you just ring that end of the Oscar bell, when they're
Yeah.
like, that's enough.
Well, I do have to ask a couple more things. So, firstly, if people are interested in working with you, where can they find you?
I love a voice message. So, I mean, come and stalk my website. I'm an open book. I have my pricing loud and proud.
Yeah.
I don't make you dig for anything. So you can come and check out my website, which is just elsamitchell.com.au, or same on Instagram is my favorite platform, Elsa Mitchell. And I love a voice DM. So slide into my DMs anytime. Yeah.
Awesome. And lastly, if you could leave the listeners with one piece of advice, what would that be?
Ooh, the sooner you stop caring about what other people think, the sooner you will succeed, or your life will move forward, or you will have growth.
I love that. And that's so true. So,
It's
so true.
so true because I was
Yeah.
that person. And it wasn't until Christy died that I went, you know what? Life's too short. We sweat
Yeah.
the small stuff, and it only stops ourselves from being where we should be or want to be. Want to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Elsa. Thank you. And thank you so much for coming on today and having a chat.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. And so yeah, that's our last episode for this year. That's crazy. And it's a big thanks to Elsa that I actually started the podcast as well. So it was a very,
I
very fitting
know, I feel
one.
a
I
bit
love it.
emotional because we mapped out this and we went back and forward
I
thinking of
know.
names for the podcast and
Yeah,
all the things. And look at us now, we're wrapping up a whole
I
season.
know. This is a 30th episode.
You've done so well. You should be very, very proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you. But yes, like I said, it's yeah, team effort, team effort. I
Well,
love it.
you've had some pretty amazing guests on so far, and that's not nothing. So
I
hats off to you,
know.
Victoria. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see who we can get on for next year as well. So if anyone's listening that's like, yeah, I'm keen, please let me know because I love having a chat. Awesome. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Mindful Educator podcast. I would love it if you could help get the word out either by leaving a review, sharing on your socials, or telling your friends, or even all three. If you would like to get in contact, head to my Instagram at the.victoria.r or my Facebook, Victoria R. My DMs are always open. Thanks again for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon.